Hello, everyone. I hope you all are doing well and having a great day so far. To those in America, happy 4th of July. This is the day of the recording. So, my name is David Grice, in case you don't know who I am. This video is to go over the final pieces of the extraction for the Lego Creator Knights Kingdom assets. Shout out to Mr. Richard Hill, who was part of the original Superscape team. He and I connected with him on LinkedIn, and he graciously help guide me to an extent with some documentation, and that really helped fill things in that otherwise would have been missed. So huge shout out to him. As for the updates, I'm just gonna jump right in. So all of the code is for the reverse engineering is completed and it's now here on the Knights Kingdom portion. I'll be updating the markdown with the latest information, but just as a quick recap, this project is twofold. The first fold was to reverse engineer and decompile the VRT, which is Superscape's their engine that they use to help compile and make the Lego games as their engine. And then it was to take the assets extracted and put into a modernized format on the web for 3JS. Well, to modernize the game. In my instance, I use 3JS because I absolutely love it. So this is just a quick recap over here. So you have the latest videos. This is going to change once I upload this video to YouTube. These are the reverse engineering tools that I had done. And this has been like a 5-year project almost. 2021 November, I think, is when I first started it. But you have the resources folder. This is where all the reverse engineering stuff takes place with my research. And then you have the source folder, and that's where all the game engine components are. Most of you are probably just going to be here for the reverse engineering, so I'll just go right into that. If you ever want to follow along or whatnot, you can just download the code straight from my repo. It's open source, always has been open source, always will be. You just clone it, or you can download it as a zip and then open in whatever IDE you use. So here are the resources. I'll go here now. So inside of here, I have organized things to the best of my ability and could probably use some more cleaning up, but I have the SDK here that Mr. Hill provided. And then it just goes through the general engine of how they, it's a software development kit, how they developed everything. Superscape no longer exists. It was bought by Glue Mobile, and then Glue Mobile was acquired by EA Games. So, yeah, so the likelihood of this ever resurfacing is probably non-existent. Research-wise, these are just the photos that I had on the original repo for the README. And then if you look at the ordinals, this was just some of my early reverse engineering concepts. Because this game came out in, I think, 1999, 2000, most of these files I had actually go to a different online website that was made in like the early 2000s to get it, but these are just some of the files that I'd found here. Then you have the model pipeline. This is just some of the testing which I've been using. So I've been using Grok, Anthropic, or Claude, Grok, and then CoPilot as my 3 go-to sources. And then for Anthropic's Claude, you had either Sonnet or Opus or Fable, and Fable was the one that helped kind of push the final notches into place for the assets. But this is just some testing for the LLMs I had. And then I'll get to the model files in a second. The archive folder, this was provided by Mr. Richard Hill. So thank you again for that. This also helped pave the way for getting the assets. So if you go to the model files, inside of here I have a separate README. So it's the process that went through to decompile the LCA format, which is a Lego wrapper built on the VCA format, which is part of Superscape's archive for VRT. This does require, to run this code, you do have to have Python here. You also need to have an IDE. In my case, I'm using VS Code, but you can use whichever IDE you want. I'm very biased towards VS Code just because I like it, but to each their own. As long as you can run Python, have fun with it. And then you're also going to need the game. Just as a side note, I do not endorse piracy of any kind. The whole purpose of this game was to take an old game that I played as a kid, full of nostalgia, wanted to modernize it, and the learning process involved for reverse engineering it, and then the 3D game engine building, which is what I'm currently doing now. It's honestly nothing more than a project for me to learn. Like, that's basically it. I'm not here to steal assets from Lego. Lego owns all these assets. Lego owns everything respective to them. I am not trying to be, I'm not trying to profit off of this besides knowledge, which in my opinion is far better than finances. So anyways, this is strictly for you, the individual, to use. Don't sell the stuff. Don't get into legal issues. To run the code, all you have to do, I architected the code in such a way that, and by me, it's going to be, when I say me, please note it's me plus LLMs to get it all taken care of. So when I say me, it's both me and LLMs. So I had it architect just a simple plugin, simple play button to run the code. And what it'll do is it'll go find the install file here, which if you do not have it, archive.org, this is where I had got the game from, because it's been 20 plus years since I've owned and played this game, and I've moved around a lot, I've grown a lot, I'm an adult, don't have access to the game anymore, so I've been using this again purely for fun, project-based research, whatever. I'm not, no piracy involved, no gray matter involved, just purely for the research. Yeah, so you can download the game from any of these items here, and Archive does a good job of doing checksums to enforce that there's no malware or anything for any of these downloads. And then if you download the ISO version of a file, which I think this one might have an ISO version, yeah, ISO image, then you'll need ISO software. I personally either use Power ISO or WinCD emulator. I think this is an open source project, so it shouldn't be there shouldn't be any issues. Yeah. Anyways, so going back to here, you have, I'm gonna go through the README. So the run.py is gonna go look for this, and then it's going to go find the pack folder, which contains all of the model files, and then also contains the SVR file, which is where the textures, sounds, and other assets are stored. And I can actually show you as I load this. Give me just 1 second. Yeah, let me just copy this into here. So it's going to look for this installation folder, and then it's going to look for the packs right here. So you have system and you have warehouse, and it's going to find this and unpack it, and then it's going to also go in and convert them into, it uses bitmap. They use bitmaps because this is, again, early 2000s. They don't use, I guess PNG may not have been around at the time, or it wasn't popular. So I have this go through and using the Pillow library in Python, convert it to PNGs, and then the sounds, they're in WAV formats. So it's fairly modernized, all things considered. And then there's I'm a big data proponent. I love data. So I have it go through and I just do some aggregate metrics to validate what is being extracted and the total results. This is going to be the repository layout for the specific resources. So under model files. So it's not going to be Knights Kingdom, it'll be model files. And then you have the README, which is this whole document, and then you have the run py, extract, get, ignore, and then the tools. And these are all the tools which we're using to extract and modify and modernize the stuff. And it's all inside of this tools folder. And then this is the game install. So as I mentioned earlier, it takes the system pack and the warehouse pack, which stores these information. Then you have the creator 2000.xvr, not svr, xvr, and this is what stores all the core texture, shapes, palettes, or not the shapes, but the palettes and everything else. And then you have the LCA files which get exported, and the LCA files actually don't store textures, they store indices pointing to the textures, which are provided by the XVR at runtime through the engine. And then I am auto converting it to OBJ and MTL. I do also have it set to convert to GLB if you're wanting to use GLB instead. If not, you can OBJ MTL does wonders. And then this is the format spec here. If you want to go more in depth, you can, and it should be auto. Yeah, this is the auto stuff right here. So now that I have the repo here, I'm going to go through and show you actually how it works. So let me go to get my resources, and then I'm going to go to model files. 1 second. And then that should give me archive, Blender, docs, extracted. Oh, I forgot to mention, I have a Blender add-on too that can take the LCA files and import it directly into Blender itself. So from here, you can see that you have the git ignore, then you have the extract all, readme, and runpy. So I'm going to remove the extracted right here. And it's grayed out because I had set to the git ignore so it doesn't push to the repo. And so I'm going to just do Python runpy, and then it's going to go through the whole conversion. So it's getting all the data, finding all the facets, points, lines, polygons, and proceeding to take the textures from all the files, and then it also does a conversion. Yeah, it's all doing it for the model files, textures, and everything else. So it does it for both OBJ and then GLB. So it gives you a good variety of models that you want to use. And then there's also config. This is just to get the file path. Because of privacy, I did not want to have this pushed in case someone has it installed on a public, I don't know, a public drive or a drive which may have a bad naming convention. And so this is just all the metrics going on the background. So it unpacked everything. It gets all the subfiles, and as you can see, I love data. So you have the model files here, GLBs, textures. It's a whopping 342.9 megabytes, which the game I think in total is like 500 megabytes, so that makes sense. And then this just gives you a general overview of what the different folders have in store. So if I go to my extracted folder now, I have this again. You have the manifest here. You have the sound map here. This maps all of the sounds that were extracted to the respective LCA files. So yes, you have that. And then what I want to go to first is the catalog. So inside the catalog, I will get the HTML. This is what is being taken from the LCA file and put towards the actual modern OBJ GLTF. So these are what they all look like. And then because I have it set to all, it's going to be everything that has been extracted. But if you want to go to specifics, you can just click animal. I probably should have this a bit better categorized, but this whole thing's still a work in progress. And then if I go to minifigs, you can see the various items. This is not how they render. This is just how I'll probably need to fix the exporter because it's not making the proper PNGs, but it's just what the models look like from the LCA perspective. So I do King Leo, my favorite champ. So you have King Leo here, and these are just some metrics, some data associated. So you have his size, the amount of texture, sprites, faces, and these are the sounds. So you have King Leo, he does collisions, greetings, random, step, and then other items. And then you have John Main, Gilbert, Cedric the Bull, and then you have some generic, both good and bad. And then you have Cedric with all the various items. So Then you have Queen Leonora, let's not forget her, and then Princess Storm right here. And again, these are not the final outputs. It's just what it looks like from the catalog's perspective. So I just wanted to add that into the thing because I thought it was cool. Again, I love data and I love visualizing data. So the big thing that probably people are wanting to look at is the models. So let me go and get King Leo here. One moment. And I like this one right here. So this is, again, GLB, MTL, OBJ. So because MTL and OBJ are the pairing, that's what I'm going to be using. And then let me swap the screen over here. Go to Blender. And then let me drag and drop. And then let me put this up. Import wavefront. So, one moment. I might have to redo this whole thing. Yeah, one sec. Oh, that's right. I was in a, general. Don't save. I'll get that later. I'm currently doing some editing to the maps. So here, let me try this again, and bammo, you now have King Leo. They are on a Y, I think it's the Z index. Blender imports, I think, from the Z index, and then 3GS uses the Y. I think it's this thing, the right hand configuration. As you can see by default, you don't have any textures or anything. It is just blank, and that's because in Blender, I'm in the viewport, not the, I'm sorry, I'm in the viewport solid, not viewport material. So if I click on material, bammo, it's here. The helmet and the sword on this instance are being rendered from the engine perspective, so they have shininess, metallic, and other things associated with these materials. That's why they're empty, and that's why it's kind of up to the interpretation of the individual as to how they want to do it. But the main textures are here, as you can see. And then if I were to do this, it just makes it darker. But if we go to the material settings here, you can see that you have the base layer, the glit, and then glit, I should say. And then you have texture. And then you can do, the preview, and that's what it looks like. And obviously, that's what it looks like. And then if I did this, it's the same thing. So that parsed over no problem, and then the belt and everything else, good to go. So that's just one example. And then if you wanted to take a look at, say, for instance, the templates, let's see here. I want to say it was number 6. Someone had wanted me to give them, they wanted to replicate this in Blender. So let me just fix this. I want to say it was this one. Yeah, it was this one. Here we are. Move this over. No, it was number 6. But anyways, the map's now rendered too. So you have all of the shapes here, and this is the castle with its various components. As you can see, the fire is a plane with fire embedded within it. Obviously, they used the .smo format for their animations, and they have animation cells inside of the LCA format, which permits them to run it through the engine. Excuse me, but yeah. So this is just some of the castle. It looks gray because this is at scale, and I don't have the camera. Actually, I can change the camera settings. Give me just a sec. Actually, no. Yeah, I can change the camera settings if I wanted to, but I'll just leave it as is. So it's all there. The material is here, the texture, And if I want to go in on a specific person, I can just do that. And there you go. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Again, most of this stuff is, most of these white layers are being rendered in the engine, and I'm sure I could probably do more research on this to kind of get it finalized, but that is basically it from the model standpoint. Now, is there anything else for the code that I wanted to show? Or from this? Probably not. So then let me go to, we have animations here. Again, it uses a .smo, so inside of here, I changed it. I had the LLMs converted to a JSON file because I love JSON. I'm very biased for some things just because I love data. But JSON is very fun to use, and it's good for structuring things. And you can see the position at the various frames for this. So confused, burnt, and then you have various animations for each asset. And then if I actually go and run the code, so if I do here npm run dev and then do a clean, it's going to do a clean, it's going to kill the processes on 3000 to 3001, and then I'm going to open it up on here. So let me go do that now. Give me a second. So as I wait for this to load, and you can see in the background, it is compiling all the endpoints. I've updated the code, so now it's using Next.js versus React Router. I'm still in the process of fixing the functionality of the login, the authentication, but honestly, this is more of the front end side of things. It's not that big of a deal. All this is being pushed to local storage now too, so that functionality still works. Then I'm just going to minimize that and increase that. So then I have, the welcome David. I have included in the options some advanced settings. So even though there's nothing here, I have advanced aliasing AA turned on. Oh, I'm sorry, anti-aliasing turned on. And then I've also enabled or disabled the sound, and I haven't done the text yet. But yeah, so that's just some things I've changed. The credits are still the same. I need to fix this offset because it's different. Again, styling is gonna be like the last thing. But if we go to start, before, if you remember, I had just a scene with grass, a blue skybox, and then just an archer that I can move around. Now, I'm still in the process of finalizing this, but whenever I click on any of these maps, I'll just do the first one for right now. Also, the clock animation runs. It's now loading the actual map, and in case you can't hear, my computer's not enjoying all of this fun because I still have to, anyways, optimize. The engine itself, I'm still working on fixing the injection. This is a bug which I need to fix, the plates, but as you can see, there are the animation, the cells do the data does import properly, and as you can hear, the audio is being used for the animation. You should be able to hear her speak too. Yeah. And then I also have it set to move the plates, so it can move the various plates. I'm still in the process of fixing the collision detection between the plates. That's a work in progress. But yeah, and again, these are being scaled, and I need to figure out a good scale for each item. But I mean, it's work in progress. And then these are currently baked into the map itself, so they're not rendered individually. I'm going to change this. I'm going to wipe them all out and get the positions and put them back in so you can move and drag them around. But for instance, the queen here, this is something which I'm going to be doing for all the objects. But you can see that she moves around, and then in the game, whenever you press the shift key, it could elevate it on the, I'll just say the y-axis. It's the same thing here. So I'm currently in the process of finalizing the game engine stats too. Collision detection, it's still a work in progress, but these are also baked into the map, so they won't be usable. If I did actually add, say for instance, let's add this little horsey. So the horsey is here. The collision, it should have been fixed, but I guess it hasn't been fixed yet. Yeah, no, it works. And then let's see. Yeah, it does work. It's because I spawned her too closely, or spawned the horse too closely. But as you can see, there's collision detection. I have to figure out the clicking of the, if it adds as a group, how that will work. But, yeah. this is a fun little thing. And then I don't think I have it set to, yeah. You can rotate now. So if you noticed before in the game, it would rotate off center. So I have the engine load onto a central point of the minifigure itself. So it should rotate more holistically in this regard versus, rotating in like some offset. As you can tell, the rotation, it's not doing the wireframe. That's a bug, which is currently in process of being fixed. Painting also is a work in progress. Whenever I click on it, it does the entire is paintable, and I have to fix this, but it does paint, and these palettes are now these colors are now mapped to how the game stored the palettes. So it's the same color as the game. Trying to maintain as close of a relationship to the game as possible, or the original code as possible. So you should be able to delete. Yeah. Oh, I can delete these, no problem. Oh, so I'll have to fix that too, because it should only be for the minifigures, not the scene itself. Because I can probably go through and delete all this stuff. Anyways, I don't think I have driving enabled for this yet, and I don't think it does it for this either, but let's check. So actually, let's go down to Mr. Skeleton, and let's see if the driving works. That's a bug I need to fix. This whole game's a work in progress. So, anyways, I go to the workshop, and then the workshop now looks like this. I'll fix it to be more wider versus how it's screened now, but it does now add the bricks to the scene, and these are all the bricks that have been exported from the LCA format. And then oh, it's because I don't have anything selected. Yeah, that's why. And I will be fixing this to the camera dimension and everything, but just like the game, and I'll have to fix that. But just like the original, you can, actually let me go through and make something a little bit more clean and tidy. So let me just do an example like a flat piece here. Let me do something like this. Yeah, so you can move it around, and then if you press the shift key, it goes down. I need to add the wireframe to this, but there's no collision detection, and then there's collision detection, I should say. And then if I did something like this, and then rotate, and then move, there you go. And then you should just be able to add it on top. Okay, I guess I need to fix that. But you can add something like that. And I'm just doing this for a quick demo. So, and I do have to fix the wireframes because it's the way that the camera is set up. Yeah, it's gonna be this is gonna be a work in progress, and I'm still currently trying to figure it out. But yeah, so you have that, and then if I wanted to save it, I can just do the actually let me change the color to like purple. I don't know if it has, I guess it does have it. Cool. And I need to fix that. That's actually reversed the wrong way. Maybe. Whatever. So then if I go through and actually let me change it to be black. So let me go through and save it. So as you can see, and this is a bug I need to fix, but inside of here, we have our model that we just made. This is also a bug which I need to fix. But if I go over here, it popped it in, but let's go over here anyways. It works. So you can see that it works. And then you have it move around, and this will rotate, same thing as before. Again, I have to fix the wireframe, but it works. You can go up and down. It's the same game engine principles apply to all the models. There's no collision detection for the plates yet. That's a work in progress from the model standpoint. But yeah, so that is it from this. And then this, oh yeah, so the scenery, I updated it. So you have it's like a mist. And then you have a fog, which actually is his fog from the 3GS. More fog. And then you have the rainstorm. I'll be adding the thunder later on, but yeah. And then I'll fix this up. But yeah, so that's that. And then these don't work. I don't know if I'll ever implement them, or maybe just have them set to be like, I don't know. I'll figure that out. And then music. It's now broken, so I'll have to fix that. It's probably because of the character animation, or the character sounds. So I'll have to fix that. Yeah, but no, this is it. And I think, yeah, so I have to fix the is paintable object on the engine too. But you should be able to delete it, just like everything else here. Just delete everything. Baby steps for building a game engine, which I'm not a developer for gaming anyways. I do automated testing and like front end stuff. So screenshots do work. Click on the screenshot, bammo, first index there. I don't know, I guess the snapshot does work. Cool. So you can actually print if you wanted to. Save to the disk. I think this is stored in local right now. It's not going to download the file, but I can have it set to do that if I wanted to. Obviously, GUI needs to be fixed. Work in progress. I was more trying to get other stuff taken care of. And then saving the game. So if I go save the game, yeah, it puts it at the 0 index. And then the animations for these icons are now fixed. The way Superscape had it done before was they took a strip from a master bitmap and then would take these images and then stream them along, I guess, at some position to make it look like it was running in the style. Here, I forget what I did precisely. I think I have it set to put the code as a GIF. I forget how to pronounce it. Anyways, it does it in an animation format. So it's all, previously I had it set to, it would have to preload the images and then it would stream like things. Now it's all just one and done. Good to go. And then I think the trash can does apply. Yeah, so just still save it. But yeah, that's kind of basically the update for this whole game. Styling, obviously, have to fix. But let's do a different map. And I know I have to fix, this is the one that the person had wanted. Yeah, it was this one. And I need to fix the camera positions and everything. And for some reason, the engine just likes to put these T-styled maps here. And it is also trying to get it's trying to look for on the map the template, the type of content that's on it, and then it proceeds to load the images in place. As you can tell, in the Blender file, all this loaded no problem, but for the engine, it's just throwing things off, so I have to fix it. Anyways, just like before, you have, movement, up and down, rotations, so it's all good to go. Is there anything else besides this? Probably not, but yeah, so it does do different templates. And then this is a bug I have to fix. I don't know why there's 10 maps, there should only be 9. And then this obviously isn't going to work because I don't have these maps loaded, but it'll be a work in progress, TBD. Yeah, so anyways, let me go back here. Credits. Yeah, but no, it's basically it from the code standpoint. Nothing new other than that, but yeah, we finally have the assets, so it's been a 5-year project almost. I absolutely love Lego Creator's Kingdom. It's one of my favorite games of all time, especially as a kid. I loved the Kingdom sets. Made many memories with my younger brother. I bought the actual castle in the first map. I don't know what the actual name is, but yeah, I had that as a kid, and I remember putting that together with the different components. And my younger brother and I would have like little miniature battles with Cedric and King Leo and Richard, and it honestly, I absolutely loved. I absolutely love this particular set and this particular version of the Knight's Kingdom. I know they came out with later versions. Absolutely hated the newer versions of the sets. But these, they have a special place in my heart. Nostalgia nostalgia is both good and bad, as they say. But yeah, but thank you all for watching. I probably won't be doing another video with my head because I find this to be whole distracting when I watch videos. But yeah, happy again Independence Day to those in the United States, and I will see you all later. Peace.